Welcome back to Bible Talks. I'm continuing the story of Samuel from the book of Samuel, chapter 23. Okay, so they said to David that the Philistines have attacked Keilah. So David inquired, the Philistines attacked Keilah. So David inquired of the Lord that should he go and fight the Philistines at Keilah. So he inquired of the Lord, and the Lord said he should go and fight the Philistines at Keilah. So he went to tell the men, the people who fight with him, the men who were with him, and they said, "Oh, we are afraid because even where we are in the where they are afraid. Whether it's at the cave, we're afraid here in Judah. Okay, so they are afraid where they were in Judah. Once more going to fight with they were in Keilah where the Philistines are. So David went to inquire of the Lord again that should I go and fight Philistines in Keilah? And God said, yes, I've given the Philistine into your hand. So they went and fought with the Philistines in Keilah, and God gave them victory. Abiathar, when he had escaped and went to David, um, he had carried the ephod with him. So when Saul heard that David was at Keilah, Saul said, "Oh, the Lord has delivered David into my hand," and he gathered all the because he's delivered him into my hand because he's going to a city where there are gates and bars. So he gathered all the people and said, "Let's go to war against David and let's besiege them." So when David heard about it, that Saul wants to come and David so comes a sixth life. So David went and inquired of the Lord that Saul wants to come and destroy the city because of David's sake, and whether the people of Keilah would deliver him into their hands, and whether Saul will actually come down. So he cried out to God and said, "Oh Lord, God of Israel, will will Saul come down as he said, or will he come and seek my life?" And then when the Lord responded, "Yes, you come down," then he asked God again that will the people of Keilah deliver him into the hands of Saul? And then God says, "Yes, they'll deliver you." So David and his men departed. There were about 600 men. So they departed to wherever they could go. So when Saul heard that David had escaped, so then Saul had cancelled his expedition or his plan to go and get him. David was in the wilderness. He was in a stronghold in the wilderness of Ziph, and Saul kept on seeking him, almost sought him, like Saul sought him every day. But God did not deliver. God didn't deliver David into the hands of Saul. So David realized that Saul really seeks his life. So Jonathan, Saul's son, came to the forest. The forest of Ziph, where David was. Jonathan came there and then strengthened his hand in the Lord. So Jonathan tells David that he should not fear, and that his father Saul will not be able to find him, and that he'll be the king of Israel. And when he's going to be the king of Israel, Jonathan will be beside him. And then they made a covenant before God, and then David remained in the forest, and then Jonathan went his way. So even that he said that his father knows that David will be the next king. Okay, so now the Zipporhites went to Saul in Gibeah and said that isn't David in the strongholds in the wilderness with us in Ziph and like at Hakilia, and so they've come to tell the king so that he can do what he wants, can come down and do what he wants with David. So they've come to give the hand of David into to the king. And Saul said to them that, "Blessed are you of the Lord, for you've had compassion on me." So they told him that I should please go and find out where his hideout is. The king says that, "Oh, I know that David is crafty. I want you to go and like watch where he is. Let someone go and see where David actually is. Go and find out where his hideout is and all. And when you guys have got certainty and you are sure that this is his hideout and stuff. Then come and confirm, and I'll come down with you. Well, Saul says that he'll search for David in all the clans of Judah. All right, left from Saul, and then so David at that time and his men were at Maon, so I pronounce it Maon, and in the plain of the south of Jeshimon. So the south of Jeshimon, and then when they heard that Saul had come to when they heard that Saul and his men went to seek him, and they told David. So David and his men went to the rock, went to the rock and stayed in the wilderness of Mam. So when Saul heard about it, he pursued David in the wilderness of Noam. So Saul was at one side of the mountain, and then David too was on the other side of the mountain, and Saul continued to pursue David. And there was so Saul and his men were encircling David, and then encircling David, so they can catch them. But a messenger came to Saul and told him that the Philistines have attacked the land. So therefore Saul returned from pursuing David and went against the Philistines. So they called that place the Rock of Escape. Then David went from there and went to En-Gedi. Yes. Went to the strongholds of En-Gedi. Yeah. All right. So one thing we can tell is that David has become a very prayerful person. Or maybe he was already prayerful because in the cave he was praying. Because if you saw from the Psalms, some of the Psalms that we read in the other that I did yesterday in the video. So David in his Psalm was praying to God, like said a prayer for escape from his prisoners. So David prayed. Okay, so but in this chapter we see David praying to God as well. So there's ones that he can go. It's just that his men too were afraid because it's not like they're experienced soldiers as well. They are ordinary. Honestly, they were ordinary men at that point because they all came with different challenges and all. So they're not really that confident in their ability to fight because they're not even soldiers in the first place. They're ordinary people and ordinary men. So they were afraid that they might lose their lives, because already they're in hiding. That's the thing. They're in hiding. So how are they going to fight a battle to help somebody else when they're actually in hiding? So it was a difficult situation in this difficult position. So David actually took their words into consideration and went to ask God again. You see, because the first time God gave him, God said, "Okay, you should go and fight the battle." But the second time he spoke to God, God said he was giving them Philistines into their hand. So now David got confident, so they're able to go and fight and they won that battle. So it was expected because if you're going to fight an enemy when you're hiding, by all means, other people come and find that you are there, you're at somewhere, So that's how Saul was able to find out that David too was going to fight a war. So Saul, that was supposed to be his responsibility. He's still the king. He's supposed to help his people. He's supposed to have been the one to come and do this. He's supposed to be the one to come and protect the people at Keilah and deliver them from the hand of the Philistines there. But Saul didn't do his job. He's so much concerned and focused on getting David and killing David. He's forgotten his main responsibility towards the nation. And now he's been calling other people, the Israelites, to come and gather and beseech David, an innocent man, and not focusing on his work that he has to do. The Philistines should have been the one to get rid of the Philistines. And now he's also come to destroy the innocent people in Keilah just for David. That's just bad. So now this Keilah, I don't say Keilians, but the people in Keilah, so now their lives are threatened because of David. And you see, here again, David calls on God, told David that yes, they will give you. So David had made the decision to leave because, David is a courageous man. He's confident, bold. He doesn't run away from evil. He doesn't run away from things. He doesn't run like how you defeated Goliath head on, how he defeated the Philistines. He's someone who is courageous. But in this situation, we see David as humble. He humbles himself, you know, because he knows like this isn't God's will, for him to fight David in this kind of manner. It's in God's will. So he prefers to humble himself and leave and go away. Because he can't jeopardize the life of innocent people in Keilah just to stay there and fight David. And David stay there and fight Saul and his agenda. So Saul, he's moving on his agenda to get rid of David, or he's on a different level now. It's like he's trying to fight the will of God because God has already said it to him that David's gonna be the king. But I don't know, Saul wants to fight the will of God. He wants to make it become a he wants to do something and or he can just so that David doesn't become a king, you know. And now he's trying to say that they are blessed of the Lord. Because honestly, Saul's agenda of trying to kill David is Saul's personal thing. It has nothing to do with God here. Like God. Even the part Saul said that God has delivered David into my hand. He has made him go to a place where there are gates and bars. God didn't deliver David into his hand. God used David so that he can save innocent lives in Keilah. So it's only Saul who is just, I don't know why he's thinking God is helping him anyway, but it was his own selfish agendas trying to get rid of David. It said Saul kept on seeking for David like almost every day, trying to get David. But it says that God did not deliver David into Saul's hands. So God's protection was really on David. Like, even though Saul tried everything that he could do to get David, he couldn't because God's hand was protecting David. Even when they went to the rock where David was at the wilderness of Mur, David was on one side, Saul was on one side, and they were circling each other. And I read that place is a difficult place, it's not an easy where they were at the mountain, So God really made a way in that situation. That's so the Philistines had to attack the land. That's they so had to destroy this expedition. But you see, God has called him. God is all in. So there's nothing Saul can do to like change the word of God, like to change the will of God. God has already said it and has declared that David will be the king. Even Saul was deep down, but still he's trying. It's an effortless effort. Because even David, when he was, I said David, Saul, when he was, the fact that David is his enemy, the fact that David is Saul's enemy, doesn't mean that David is God's enemy. So the thing is that Saul made it seem like that because David is his enemy, that God is also against David in a manner, but it wasn't the reality. That's not the reality. For him to say that God had delivered him into his hand, it wasn't the reality. So sometimes in life, we may, people may be, someone can be your enemy in a certain sense that maybe you didn't like them or you see them somewhere or sort of thing. So in your mind, you think that, because you don't like them and there's some way they're like this, or you consider them your enemy or something. And you're thinking, God too can be against them in some way. It's not true. It may be you and that person's personal matter and thing, but it's not God's matter as well. It might be between the two of you. So in such situation, it generalizes so much that when he was the one who had a problem with David, he was thinking that God too has a problem, but it wasn't like that. So it's like Saul was self-deceiving himself in this situation. So there's one thing I've learned from this was that it's good to be very prayerful to communicate to God more often. Because when David wasn't sure, he went back to confirm with God. Because the first time God had told him, go and fight. But when he went to talk to the men that he's going with, the men said, we are afraid to, where we are crying, Judah, we are scared. You see, but because they are afraid, David went and they gave their reason why they're afraid. So David goes back again to ask God, like whether, God gives him the response that, you won't cry, giving you victory. So that's one thing. So we should talk to God about everything, like everything. We have to develop the habit of communicating with God. Even though it's not like how David's own is so direct, like you tell God, but God speaks in different ways. So But the amazing thing is that I don't know, but sometimes you just talk to God like you're talking normal and stuff, but God has this amazing way of answering you. Sometimes you don't expect it. Sometimes you tell God something and then God like just shows you in a miraculous way. Maybe you're dealing with something. There's a power of talking to God or like just simple words. You don't have to, don't have to be someone praying for long. Just tell God, speak to him wherever you are and tell him something. God does hear. You'll be amazed. I remember some time there I told God something. I didn't expect him to tell me something in response, but in a different way, because I can't remember exactly what it was about. But I was a little bit off guard and surprised that, hey, so God, you heard me. Yeah, so God does speak in different ways. And so even though it takes something, He will show you in a different way around your interaction with someone or something. So God does speak in different ways. Sometimes He can tell you audible, sometimes He can show you through others and stuff. So God has a way of talking. So that's one thing we should also desire to talk to God. No, let's talk to God more as often as we can, just like how we can talk to anybody, all that. Yeah. Okay. So thank you for joining and stay blessed.